We are here to talk about our faith journey to Dallas. We pray that this video inspires your faith. So this journey started after I left my previous job, and I just feel led to take 6 months off to heal and rest. And I was doing full-time speaking as a way to bring in income. And I say around maybe 4 months in, I was on a jog, and I just felt the Lord say to me, I heard him say to me, "You're not going to be here next year." And I told Lauren, and I think he was like excited, but in a sense you were
Like,
kind of hesitant.
okay. What does that mean? What does that look like? But all right.
Yeah. So I think, women want details, right? They crave their security, so that was the start of it. And then we just began to feel uncomfortable where we were. We just kind of felt out of place. And I was like, let's just take some faith moves. Mm-hmm. Let's go and visit Dallas. So we visited Dallas on our anniversary, not looking to move to Dallas, but
just get away.
Yeah, to get away. And once we got here, I kind of felt like a frequency with God. I just felt like this is like the place to be. Like I can see ourselves living here. So we left Dallas and we started putting in job applications. Well, I did. And I kept getting rejected. And I was like, wow, God, like, why I keep getting rejected if you are calling us to Dallas? So I started going to therapy during this time because I just needed somebody to talk to about, relocating. And I was also going through some personal things, but I was sharing with my therapist, like, yeah, I just feel like God is leading us to Dallas to relocate. But on the other hand, Lauren was wanting to stay because we kept getting rejected by jobs. So I told my therapist, like, yeah, I just feel led to stay where we are. And she was like, when you said that, you had no life in you. And so I told Lauren, like, hey, I just feel like we should still, consider moving to Dallas.
A little bit of the backstory is that, like, last year, we just started feeling really uncomfortable. And I know a lot of people who are watching can probably relate, like, when God is changing something in your life, like, sometimes he can, or your feelings will start to change. And it might not be for a specific reason or anything like that, but all of a sudden we just started feeling like super out of place, like aliens were in the city where we were from. Everything that used to bring us joy that we were used to doing started feeling weird or like unenjoyable, and it was just getting real hard to stay where we were at. And so we knew that there was, like, 9 times out of 10 it was like, okay, God, I think you're telling us the environment we're in we won't be in long, or else we would have been comfortable.
Yeah.
So
God's grace came off of us for what we used to enjoy. Like we couldn't even enjoy our favorite restaurants.
Nope.
Because God
was nasty.
Yeah.
Shows was terrible. Couldn't watch TV.
Everything was just
bad.
And so 2020 came around and
wait, before we jump into 2020, let's talk about like the signs and stuff that we had. Because I know we were like, all right, God, this is what we think you're doing. But if this is what you're doing, can you start showing us that this is what you're doing? So then all the signs started happening. Like, you want to tell them about the license plates? Like the license plates, there was one set of signs.
Yeah, so the license plates, we saw a lot of Texas tags. And we were seeing that 2019 and 2020.
Right, but it started in 2019.
So we kept seeing Texas license plates.
For months and months.
Yeah. Who looks at license plates like that? But we just kept seeing.
It's like they would be like jumping out and illuminating. It would be situations where it would be like one car in front of another with Texas tags. I know at one point I looked in my rearview mirror, just checking my rearview mirror, and it's like a car parked with a Texas tag. Like, like God will kind of illuminate things for you when he's trying to get your attention about it. And then we started seeing people with like Texas clothes on and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was all types of like random stuff.
Yep. So we kept seeing those things, and then I just feel led to go back to Dallas for a second visit, and God said go back on Valentine's Day. And we go back on Valentine's Day just to like search out apartments, to look
Like,
at jobs.
Yeah, we weren't really sure like what to do. We just know God told us go down there.
Yep.
And so a lot of times when God gives you an instruction, he won't give you the next bit of advice until you follow the first thing he told you to do.
Yep.
Kind of like with a parent, it's just like do what I told you to do.
God will give you one word and you have to act on it.
Yeah.
It can be leave, go,
Yeah.
stop, pray,
Right.
fast. You have to act on it. So we get to Dallas, and then we found out there was a conference that we was trying to go to for a while, and they so happened to have it on that day,
That we were there.
and we went. And the person who was speaking had called us out and was like, "There's something going on with y'all too. Why y'all here?"
Something going on with y'all. What's up?
And we said, God said, move to Dallas, and we came this weekend. And
Trying to figure out how.
yeah, so he just empowered us, and he was just in agreement with us as far as our faith steps. And there was a couple that with the same story as us.
So that's the kicker. It wasn't even about going up and the person being like, why are you here? God just used them so that it'll shine a spotlight on us so we'll connect with the other couple who went through the same thing exactly 3 years ago.
Yep. So then they parked right next to us in the parking garage. And they was like, we was trying to dodge y'all.
Yeah, just ignore like
Yeah.
it felt like God was telling us to say something, but they're super weird
Yeah.
and we didn't want to be like no creepers or anything like that, but we kept seeing y'all.
Yeah.
So we got to our car and y'all parked right next to us. So it's like, well, okay, God, we can't ignore this no more. We could at least say hello or whatever to them. So they said, hey. They was like, hey, by faith, congratulations on your move to Texas. And we was like, oh, thank you. Like, you recognized that was us or whatever. And so we were talking with them a little bit, and they were real cool. And we was just, like, looking, and we didn't want to pull off or anything like that. And we were both just like, hey, y'all want to go get something to eat after this?
Yeah. So we go out to dinner, and then we just prayed, and then we left. And then they called us, like, a week later.
So we got to know them more at dinner, and they told us more about their story, about like how everything worked out for them to move here. And so God told them the same thing. They didn't know nobody from here. They didn't have any family here or nothing like that. They didn't have a job or anything, but God kept telling them like in an urgency to move. So they moved like without opportunities lined up and everything. And the day they moved was the day they got a great opportunity for like a job or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they moved here by faith. So yeah.
Yeah. So once we got back to our hometown, we stayed in touch, and it was like about a week or so later that they said, hey,
so the wife and the husband both have a relationship with God, but God told them each individually. They put it on each. He put on each of their hearts to invite us in with them or whatever. And so when one of them came to the other about it, that's how they knew it was from God. Like God is specific with how He does things, especially when stuff is like dramatic and it's not something that you just gonna do on your own. And so he was like, one of them came to the other one like, hey, babe, I think God is telling me this. And he's like, oh, well, I know that's God because he just told me the same thing. And it's wild to me, but...
Yeah. So I tried to find the quickest job I could. And I got this job that I didn't like, but I had to take it. And I got it. And I came back to Dallas to interview, got it, went back home, and we
Because didn't you say before all that, though, before we even knew anything like that, you said, I feel like God dropping 21 days in my spirit.
Yes. It
and
was
I'm
like, God said you got 3 weeks.
I said, what?
Yeah. And so women that crave that security, they want all the details. But when you walk up with God, I always say you got to be crazy because God going to ask you to do some crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. Abraham sacrificed your son. Just crazy, like, God, what? Mm-hmm. God, you said celebrate my son? No, God said sacrifice.
So when he said 21 days, like, I didn't necessarily throw it out the window, but I was just like,
yeah,
ain't nobody finna move to no another city in no 21 days, but we'll see whatever. Like, we'll see.
Yep. So we packed up. In a week and left. And once we got to Dallas, the next week, COVID hit.
Yeah. So we got the call from them after you heard about the 21 days. Mm-hmm. So we knew, okay, because I told God in my personal time, I'm like, Lord, if this really what you're leading us to do, I just need a roof over my head. Like, put a roof over my head.
Yeah.
Then we got the call back from them inviting us in. They had plenty of, like, space for us to stay. Like, it wasn't crowded. It was a really nice living situation. And it felt secure. And so we were like, oh, okay, well, if you have a place to stay, you don't have, like, rent to pay or anything like that, then okay, like, Lord, I guess that's you saying here's the roof over your head.
Yeah.
So he kept saying urgent. And we were like, bro, we can't get a couple extra weeks or whatever. Like, but it was just so heavy.
You called God a bro?
Well, not bro. But. So we were like, okay, it got unbearable. We knew we had to go. We get there. And like he said, COVID hit the week after that. So we were like, okay, this is why God kept pressing it. Because y'all know in dealing with COVID-19, like, ain't no way. Yeah. It would have made it so much harder to move.
Yeah.
And it's like a worldwide pandemic going on.
It was in the thick of it.
Yeah.
So, but that's all we got here. Anything else?
No. We got in the situation. We walked it out by faith, and then things just start unfolding. I would say that, like getting landing good opportunities that weren't overnight, but we knew if we weren't already here and in position, we would have missed out on what God had for us. And so,
yeah. So I would just say, Psalm 32:8 says that the Lord says, "I will guide you along the best pathway for your life. I will advise you and watch over you." He didn't say that I will guide you along the most comfortable pathway for your life, but he said the best pathway for your life. And most importantly, what's best for his purpose, because now we see more of why we are here, not just to get in a thriving city, but also to get here because of his purpose and what he wanted. Yeah. So I pray that inspired your faith and that this encouraged you.
And can I just also throw in there that while we were moving, or God was leading us to move, we watched other videos of people who moved that look like us, same age as us, well, not always the same age or whatever, but they reminded us of ourselves, and so that helped build our faith. So shout out to Meet the Teats. I don't know if y'all will ever see this video, but y'all really helped us get to Dallas for real, based off their story. And their story wasn't necessarily easy either. So
so God bless y'all. Stay encouraged. If you are watching this and you've been going through frustration, I was being mentally tormented. It was a wilderness season for sure, but I would just ask you guys to do us a favor and just keep your faith stirred up.
Yeah.
Just keep your faith stirred up. Stay encouraged. If you have to watch this video 10 times.
And don't second guess it. Like, don't overthink it. If God's telling you to do something, you know God's telling you to do it. Because more than likely it's going to be hard. You're not going to know how you're supposed to get there, but you know it's God. Yeah. So God bless y'all. Subscribe to this channel. We look to do more videos, but we will see if it's worth it or not. So God bless y'all.